What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent marketing strategist and web designer based in Boulder, Colorado. And on today's video, I'm going to be giving you a behind the scenes look, basically a case study video on one of my first big projects I ever landed in my young career to date. And this was the website redesign project I took on behalf of my client, Land Associates. And it was the first big project I ever landed in terms of not just the scope of work, but how much I was being compensated for the time. And this was before I was even full time on my own business doing what I'm doing now. This was while I was still living in New Jersey and working for an agency. And then I was freelancing nights and on the weekends doing this project. So it was really just a huge eye opener for me in terms of just thinking that I could eventually be doing this on my own and finding my own clients and running my own business. So I would say that this is the project that really set me on the path to what I'm doing today. And so it is a little cool to go down memory lane and just see how the project worked. So some quick background on the client of this project. They are called Land Associates. They have 5 different office locations as of the time of this recording in the tri-state area. So a couple offices in New Jersey, one in New York, and one in Pennsylvania. They are a full service architecture firm, so they can do not just architecture and design services, but also engineering, land surveying, construction administration, etc. And they have over 100 employees. So this was a really big company that I was working on. And so it was a super exciting time. And by far, they were the biggest company I've ever worked with, still to this date. In terms of the project stakeholders, I primarily worked with the marketing director of this firm, as well as one of the main marketing coordinators slash copywriters, which was a huge help on the project as well. Both the clients were super easy to work with, and they were really good in the sense that they brought their own ideas that helped flesh out my ideas. And then one last thing to note is that this client actually came to me via referral. So at the agency I was working at, they had contacted them potentially about working together, but then the agency I was working for at the time just didn't want to take on the project because there would have been no marketing engagement afterwards, because Land Associates has their own in-house marketing team that can handle that once the website is live. So then I was referred to the client. I had a couple interviews. I know they were considering other proposals, but eventually they went with me and I was super grateful for it. So with the project background out of the way, now I'm going to be going over the strategy of the project, starting with a look at the old website, and then based on how it looked at the time and the key marketing metrics at the time, what we were going to do to redesign a website from the ground up that was going to help the Land Associates achieve not just a great design and a great online presence, but also how could we strategically position the website going forward so that the firm could achieve its marketing, sales, and ultimate business objectives going forward. So without further ado, let's get into it. But before all that, make sure to like the video because it helps in the algorithm, helps me get found by other additional people online. And also make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in learning more about web design, digital marketing, branding, all those types of things. I'm going to be coming out with videos very often going forward, all about those topics. All right. So my process when it comes to designing websites has certainly always been refined over the years. But the one thing that has remained steady this entire time is the first phase of the project, which is a research slash discovery phase, where ultimately I will then present a strategy to the clients to make sure we're aligned on our goals from a marketing perspective, as well as what content the website is going to feature and a bunch of other things that you'll see shortly here. And I always sum this up in a strategy presentation after doing research for about a week, maybe 10 days. And then following this discussion, we're good to start moving forward with the design of the website. So you'll see here, we started with just a quick agenda of everything we're going to cover, basically what I just talked about. In my experience, always very good to make sure that even though we've already talked about what our goals for the project are already at this time, always really good to make sure we're just on alignment as we start to have this conversation. Because this is like this also serves not as just a strategy presentation, but also as like the kickoff meeting, because other than like a quick onboarding call, this is generally our first meeting of the project. Then we get to auditing their current website as well. So it's super important in my experience for the client to know where they currently stand, where their website currently stands from not just a design perspective, which they can clearly see, but also just a digital marketing perspective. Because sometimes in-house marketing teams just don't have this types of insight and data into how their website is currently performing. So you'll see here, I did a bunch of SEO research showing them where they currently rank. We looked at how other websites are ranking online for like the keywords that they wanted to target, like architects in NJ. You can see here, Land Associates was like right at the bottom at the number 10 result. And then auditing the site speed, which is a really important factor for not just delivering a great online experience to visitors, but also increasingly SEO these days. And so, yeah, that's more of this. And then finally, with that out of the way, Super important to then touch on content because this is the time of the project where we really need to make sure that we know all the content the website is going to feature. What content do we have in terms of photos, videos, etc. And also, if content needs to be developed as part of this website, then we need to align on that now. And so we can get a jump start on that. And so the content development doesn't ultimately delay the project. So here, just to start the conversation, I presented a sitemap to my clients. As I told you, this is a very large project. This doesn't even account all the portfolio projects, of which there was like 100 something, and all the blog posts, which I believe there were like 200 to 300 that we needed to migrate over. But basically, this gives the client a very visual overview of what exactly we need to be developing. So as you can see here, there's lots of service pages, there's lots of market pages, and there's also several about pages about the firm. So the next step, as you'll see shortly, is the wireframe development of the project, where I will present designs in Figma to my client, and then we can tweak those and I can implement any feedback they have through several rounds of revisions. But before that even happens, I like to have a conversation about each major page the site is going to feature, telling them what I think the content we should have is, and as well as what is some optional and additional content we might want to consider here. And this way, just coming out of this conversation, one, I can get a sense of what the client is going to want to include on every page, which is super helpful. And by also outlining this ahead of time and telling them what I'm thinking, it's very easy to have a conversation versus being like, hey, services page, what should we include? Where it's very open-ended. So this is super helpful just for make sure that in the next phase of the project, when I actually present the content, the UX and UI wireframes, they actually know. We've already talked about what type of content each page should have. So it's not like we're starting from scratch. So this is really makes it a lot more straightforward in my experience. And then finally, lastly, always super helpful at the end of this meeting to get aligned on visual direction. So this way, once I start presenting the wireframes, they're not completely out of the blue, out of what the client might have been expecting. So I always take some time to pull some examples of what I think would be some really good inspiration for this project. And I also ask my clients to come prepared with some examples of websites they like, so I can get a good overview of what they're looking to achieve from a design perspective on the new website. And then finally, I'll also sometimes detail some of the tools we might be using. This way, everyone is aligned on communication, all that type of stuff, any tools that I might need access to, like Google Analytics, for example. Coming out of this, then, we are good to move forward with the next phase of the project, which is to start designing the wireframes and getting the content sorted out in Figma. All right, so now before we take a look at what exactly the wireframes look like, I want to actually just show you first. I pulled this up on the Wayback Machine. This was the old Lane Associates website. So when they hired me to help them redesign their project, this is what it is. This is what it looked like. And you can see it's a very simple homepage. Looks like it's not horrible, but it looks like something that at the time this was developed, probably in like the late, right around 2009, probably. This is probably pretty solid, but when we were going to redesign this right around 2020, obviously this was very outdated at the moment. But I just wanted to show you this now so you can kind of have a sense of what we were starting from. The tool I use to start the design process is going to be Figma. Figma is a super popular tool in the marketing and design industry. It's really effective for creating wireframes. So essentially I can fully mock up pages of each page we're going to have on the website. And then my client is able to preview this in a realistic way. They're able to leave comments. It's very collaborative, kind of like a Google Doc experience. And so here you can see all the different files we were working with, as well as my clients were in here as well. And essentially so it's a very open and transparent experience. And you can see here, I was even playing around with like different font pairings we could explore. Just jumping into, I don't want to show you all these just in the interest of time. As you can see here, for all the pages we were looking to do, I would sometimes share 2 different variations to my clients so they could pick a design they liked. And then also here they would see essentially what a fully mocked up version would look like. And if they wanted to go in and preview, they could just do that right here. You'll see it load in a second. And this was super easy for the clients to then envision what exactly the design was going to look like, as well as what the copy. Now, on a lot of projects, I'll actually handle the copy for my clients, especially these days. But in this circumstance, actually one of their in-house marketing professionals was a copywriter, a professional copywriter. And so he handled the copy, and that was super helpful, basically just taking that off of my plate and essentially allowing me to just focus on creating a really awesome design. This was super helpful for the client to visualize the design. And then if they wanted to, as you can see here, they could leave comments. So it made it super easy to collaborate on all these pages, a lot more effective than just like back and forth email communication that would have been hard to keep track of. So this is like a design tool. All my clients have loved it. It's super easy to use. You can use it right in the browser as you're seeing here. So no need to even download any outside software. And then finally, we did end up actually putting this together. So like I said, I work primarily with the marketing team, the 2 members of the marketing team, a marketing director, and then a copywriter as well. But like I said, the firm had over 100 people, and we eventually needed to present this to the principals on the firm. And so this was once the design phase was essentially complete, and before we moved into development, I helped my client put together basically kind of summarizing the overview of why we're taking on this project, our objectives and our goals for this website from a marketing perspective, and then showing the clients. So we basically exported this as a PDF document, so no one was really required to log into Figma, but essentially showing them in this presentation, you can see we just simply have the wireframe presented without any notes. And then here we had call out sections kind of explaining why certain things are the way they are. And yes, this was super helpful for getting stakeholder buy-in of such a large firm. So this way, all the principals were able to see the design clearly, but then also see why were certain things designed the way they were. And we really didn't get any major feedback out of this. Basically, the principals just signed off on the design. We're like, it looks great. Let's get this developed and let's get this live as soon as possible. So on that note, going on to the website as well. So this is what the finished website ended up looking like. As you can see here, we have like this really cool video background that really catches people's attention right away. I would say it looks a lot different than a lot of other firms you might be familiar with. Ben just highlights everything, all of like the key stats for the client. We have some featured projects as well. We really tried to use a large photography to really achieve a high-end look, but also noting that the firm has been around for over 50 years. They really need to maintain a very professional, established look and feel. But we also still at that time didn't want to look super corporate. We did want to look very professional, but yet also approachable, I would say. And so this is another thing I did as well a lot on this project is like taking the sky background of these projects, cutting it out using something like Photoshop, and then having some text in the background. I think that really makes the website shine. We had developed several about pages where we have some videos that will pop up going over what the firm and its unique values, its core values, all of that type of stuff. We also developed unique service pages for all the different services the client put together. So this is definitely something I recommend a lot of architecture firms do, but I actually see very few actually pursue this type of strategy. Most just have a main service page, which we have as well. But I would definitely recommend building out individual service pages for every main service your firm offers, just because this is going to be super key, not just for SEO, but also just for clearly explaining your services to prospects who are visiting the website. And then we have some fast facts right at the top. Again, we had a lot of really good photography to use. So I was using a lot of background image sections here. We have a call to action. We have featured projects on all of these service pages detailing for projects where the service was actually developed. Super helpful. And then again, to kind of achieve a high-end look, but also leverage the photography we had, we went with this cool overlay effect. So if someone hovers over, then they can click on the project and view. Then we have all the different office locations. Like I said, they have 5 different office locations as of the time of this recording. Also really important to do on this website was the markets page. So the client wanted to have dedicated pages for every single market they focus on, education being one of their biggest markets, if not the biggest. And so we just developed unique pages for all these, sharing the same template, but having unique content talking about how the firm could handle this particular project, this particular client sector very well. And so yeah, then we had like featured projects again, this time in like a slider format just to make it a little bit more interactive, but also keep that large photography going as well. And you can see there's a little bit of a zoom out effect just for an extra design touch. We have testimonials here as well, but then in a way we're still leveraging the really awesome photography that the client had. And then more news and insights, just so maybe people want to engage with content. Ultimately, there is a CTA so people can get in touch right away. And so, yeah, last things I want to talk about are the projects. We did have to migrate over 100 projects. And one of the key considerations for this project was that the client's in-house marketing team needed to be able to go into the website and add new pages, update content, change out employee bios, all that type of stuff, because they did not want to have to keep a marketing or web developer person on staff. They wanted to be able to handle everything in-house, understandably. So when it comes to the portfolio, a couple of quick things to note that I think are cool is one, we've got this really good sorting functionality. So basically someone could sort by a market, thinking that if I'm in the K-12 industry or the education sector, I probably only care about projects in the education sector. So this way I could just quickly sort and be able to find projects that work or that are familiar to my industry. And then what I help the client do is we design a cool template. The site is built with WordPress and the page builder we use is Elementor. I typically don't work with WordPress anymore, although I'm always open to providing the client with my recommendations based on what I think is best for them. But here you'll see the client, essentially we set it up to where they can just fill out this in the back end of the website. So they just upload Photos, they just give a quick overview. They just provide a quick information of the projects, like the size, the location, the client, etc. And then these pages can all be auto-populated in the WordPress content management system. So really, you don't need a whole lot of technical experience to be able to do this. It's very simple. We also have some cool sharing buttons as well. So people will, be incentivized to share these projects to their network. And then we have a minimal CTA at the end. And we also have additional related projects within the same category in case this way we can have higher engagement, because the prospect is probably going to need to see a couple different projects before they actually reach out about their own project. Finally, we also have a news and insights section. So again, there's a couple hundred blog posts here, but very simple for the client to set up, where they just go into WordPress, post a blog, and then all this content will be populated here. So they just need to come up with a title, a subtitle, a photo to use, and then just actually have the text itself. And then also they can just go in and add content such as you see here. And then we have a CTA in case anyone wants to get started on a project right away, or they can continue seeing more news. The last thing I want to talk about here on terms of the website is the careers. Like I said, they have over 100 people at this company. It's a really big company. They've been around for over 50 years. There's a lot of cool benefits of working with this company. And so one of the things the client wanted to do was set up a very robust careers page, as well as a robust job application section, where because they're always looking to hire, they can post job applications themselves. Someone can post here, kind of like it's like a job board site, and then they can automatically apply. And then people in HR that need to be notified about this get an email notification through the website. So lastly, it really would not be much of a case study if we didn't actually talk about the results that have come through. So this is just a quick results. Again, I wasn't really responsible for the marketing. I was just really helping the client put together a new website. And then from there, the in-house team was going to handle all the digital and offline marketing efforts. But here, I just pulled this up in my SEO software. And you can see we launched the website right around the middle of 2021, I want to say. And you can see now, as I'm recording this, they've pretty much doubled the SEO keywords. And if you look real close, that they're actually ranking for a lot of really key keywords. So engineering firms, engineering consulting firms, NJ, they're on the first page. Engineering firm, NJ. Architecture firm, NJ. If I can find it somewhere here, you'll see here, architecture firms, New Jersey. They're right at the top. So really, definitely one of the key things, as you saw in the beginning, was they were at the bottom of the first page, just barely on that first page. And now, now you can see all the keywords are ranking for NJ, architectural firms. They're on the first page, etc. So from an SEO perspective, the website has really done very well. And then also just looking at the traffic real quick. So this is just the last 180 days. And you can see the website is regularly pulling in a couple hundred people every single day. So yeah, really, really good news for this client. I know just talking to the client, I still keep in touch here and there. I know that they were saying a few months ago that they're as busy as they've ever been. The website has been a huge success and they're really happy with how it all turned out. And so, yeah, I was really happy with the end result. The principals were happy with the end result. The marketing team was happy. And now they have a full website that they can just use as a complete digital marketing tool, compared to what it was at first when they really weren't able to leverage this at all. And it was really kind of holding them back compared to the competition. All right, and so that is the case study. I hope you found this video really helpful, and I hope if you are the owner of an architecture firm or even the marketing director of an architecture firm, I hope that this video was super insightful for you to see what a really strong process looks like when it comes to redesigning your architecture firm's website, because in the long run, this is just the first step you need to take in order to really develop an entire online marketing machine that's going to be able to generate consistent project leads for your firm, 10 to 20 leads per month we're talking about. And so this way you can consistently sign your ideal clients, hire more employees, take on more projects, and of course, grow revenue. So if that is your long-term goal, whether you're the owner of a firm or you're the marketing director trying to help your firm achieve those goals, the website is really the first step that you need to take in order to make those business dreams a reality. And if you want to get my insight on where your firm currently stands in relation to its marketing journey online, then definitely feel free to book a free consultation with me. Link in the description. Basically a very casual, very chill intro call. I'll take the time to learn more about your firm, what it's currently doing from a marketing perspective, and help you map out a game plan real quick in under 30 minutes, detailing every step you need to take in order to start increasing project leads, growing your website traffic, all that type of stuff. And even if I'm not a good fit for your project, then I will happily refer you to someone in my network, whether that be an agency owner or whether that be a freelancer similar to myself, who's going to be a better fit to help you out. If that sounds good to you, free strategy call. You can book time directly on my calendar. Link in the description. It's the first link there. And I hope to see you soon. All right. Take it easy. Bye.